Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town of Babylon Planning Board. Today is February 28th, 2022. This is a remote meeting. And Richard Casey, could you read the official record as to what gives us the legal authority to conduct this meeting remotely?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. This planning board meeting is presented and is taking place remotely in conformity with the New York State Public Officers Laws, Open Meetings Law, and the executive orders of the state of New York.
Thank you, Counsel. Matt Esposito.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. Tonight we have two public hearings on the agenda utilizing the Zoom webinar application. We will have the applicants joining us to present their application to the board and answer any questions. Following the presentation, we will individually call upon members of the public who have registered to speak regarding this application. Individuals will be promoted from an attendee to a panelist in order to voice their comments. For the record, there are a number of members of the public registered to participate on both public hearings, 20-25AB, 500 by county, as well as 21-18A, 480-1 Enterprise LLC. This hearing is also being live streamed on the Town of Babylon YouTube channel. Following the presentation and public comments, the public hearing will be closed. The record for this matter shall remain open for a minimum of 7 days. As long as the record is open, any member of the public who did not register to participate in tonight's Zoom meeting can provide comments on the application by email or regular mail directed to Town of Babylon Planning Board, 200 East Sunrise Highway, Lindenhurst, New York, 11757, or to the email address planningcomments@townofbabylon.com. If you have any questions or require any additional information, please call the planning department at 631-957-3103.
Thank you very much. Denise, could you please read into the record the statement regarding testimony?
Planning board shall have the right to rely on any information that is presented by the applicant. If any such information is later found to be inaccurate or incorrect, the planning board may determine that any approvals, building permits, or other actions previously granted in connection with the application are null and void.
Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Yes, Patrick Halpin.
Present.
Michael Cafaro. Nice.
Present.
Frank Santos.
Present.
Julianne Nolan.
Present.
Jerry O'Neill.
Present.
Daniel Truchen.
Present.
Ed Wynn.
Present.
Rich Casey.
Present.
Rich Grow.
Present.
Matt Esposito.
President.
Okay. Jerry, we have two public hearings, as is our tradition. Could you open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance? Jerry O'Neill.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all.
Okay. Denise, please call the first public hearing.
So item A, a public hearing, site plan review, minor subdivision, planning board job number 20-25AB, 500 by county, CWNF LLC, proposes to subdivide a 14.97 acre lot into two in order to construct a 38,267 square foot, 3-story self-storage building on Lot A and maintain an existing 124,552 square foot, 2-story multi-tenant office and warehouse building on Lot B, along with associated site improvements.
Thank you very much. Who is here on behalf of the applicant?
We have a number of members registered. I'm just promoting them to panelists now, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Wayne Edwards, Frank Ralph, Mark Pelota, as well as a number of other members of the ownership group.
All right. Who of the ownership group, who's going to present the application to the board? Could you?
Yes, I'm Frank Ralph. I am president. I am the architect for the project.
Hey, sir, could you please go ahead? Yes.
Mr. Chairman, this is Wayne Edwards. I'll meet from Sawn Ward, Ralph and Koblenz. I'll be making the presentation, the first part of the presentation on behalf of the applicant.
Okay, so you're the attorney for the
Yes, I
applicant?
am. Yes, I
Okay,
am.
again, could you please state your name and address for the record?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Wayne Edwards, Sawn Ward, Rath, Koblenz, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York. I am the attorney for the applicant, 500 Bi-County CWNF LLC, regarding this application.
Okay, sir, have you had the opportunity to review the memo from the planning commissioner, Rachel Scalfo, with your client?
Yes, I have.
Are there any questions, concerns regarding any of the items in the memo? Regarding
No,
the
there's not. No, there's
uh,
not.
restrictions or
Mr. Chairman, if I could for a second, just for the record, the memorandum is from Elizabeth White, Deputy Commissioner of Planning and Development. Ms. Shelfo is recused on this matter.
memo? I apologize. All right, so thanks, Matt. Regarding the memorandum, does your client have any questions, concerns, or anything that they'd like to bring to our attention?
No.
So your client is in full agreement with all of the items that are listed in the memorandum.
Yes, they are.
Okay, good. Please proceed. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, as you're aware, my client currently owns the premises located in an industrial G zone. It's currently improved with a two-story and one-story multi-tenanted building, comprising 124,552 square feet. They have owned this property since 2005. The building is the largest office building in the town. It includes a multitude of tenants, including a kiddie academy, which is a daycare center, the New York State Office for Storm Relief, many small and larger tenants, including CPAs, attorneys, and other business owners. In fact, my client maintains their office in the building and are there on a daily basis. It is their plan, as indicated, to subdivide 2.84 acres of the parking lot of that facility for development and to maintain intact the office building. A number of years ago, the daycare user, Kiddie Academy, went before this board and they were granted a special use permit to operate the daycare center. That applicant, I believe, and my client have lived up to the covenants that were listed by the town in that grant. My client has submitted plans to the Department of Planning for the self-storage facility. As you are aware, it'll be 3 stories and will be operated by a national operator such as CubeSmart. The 2.84 acres is located on the northeast corner of the property. That is the furthest point away from Carmen Avenue on the north side of the property. On the north, you will note that there is a empty area that's used as a sump. This property, as my clients, as the office building, will have access only from Bi-County Boulevard, which is a private road that services not only the existing building, but also several other buildings located on Bi-County Road going south to Route 109. Bi-County Road parallels Route 110. Between Route 110 and my client's building is the movie theater, as well as floor decor and several pad sites. On the other side of Route 110 is the Walmart Supercenter and Republic Airport. As a result, if this board approves that building, there will be no changes to that. There will be no change of entry regarding from Bi-County Road, nor from Carmen's Avenue. The only way you can access Carmen Avenue from this site are 2 gates. One to the north is a crash gate, and the other to the south is a locked gate, which is locked as a result of the agreement with the when the Kiddie Academy was granted. During my client's ownership of the building, it was clearly noticeable that there was a significant number of empty spaces and the building was overparked. My client did a similar project at 999 Stewart Avenue, which is a 200,000 square foot office building, and they built behind it a Cube Smart, similar to what they're applying for here. Across the street, that was the old Grumman site. It's an industrial area. Across Stewart Avenue from that area is also residential properties. Currently, my client leases the northeast corner of the building. If you go down there and visit the New York State Department of Transportation, they operate the commercial truck licensing test site in the area. The area is fenced off. If you want to obtain a New York State Class A license to drive a tractor trailer or a larger truck or bus, you have to come to the site and take driving tests. It has to comply with federal regulations as well in order to get a CDL or commercial driver's license. Inasmuch as the parking lots are underutilized and to monetize their investment in the property, but not intensify the parking or the traffic on the site or off the site, the best use for this is a self-storage facility. Site plans were submitted to the Department of Planning. The process started approximately 2020. Plans were reviewed. Comments from the planning department were received by my client's consultant. Modifications were made to the plans. My client was also required to retain a traffic consultant for the town to do a parking and traffic study for the town. My client paid the fee and Cameron Engineering was selected. As a result of the comments by the town and by Cameron, various modifications were made to the plans as well. And as a result is the plan that was developed that's before you today with the special use permit subdivision of the site. Starting with the self-storage facility, as I indicated, it will be a 3-story building set on 2.84 acres. There is no basement, there's no windows, and it's not a 24-hour operation. It will have 20 parking spaces when 58 are required. Thus, if the board should approve the application, a parking variance will be necessary from the Board of Zoning Appeals of the town. And in addition, in the industrial G zone, the height for self-storage is limited to 25 feet and 2-story. My client is requesting 33.5 feet with projections to the building that extend beyond 33.5 feet. This was to accommodate not only the bulkhead for stairs, but also to add architectural details to the building. A height variance and number of stories variance will also be required from the Board of Zoning Appeals. As a result of taking parking spaces away from the existing office building, the office building parking spaces will be reduced to 686 spaces when 829 are required. So that will need a parking variance as well. Cameron has reviewed the parking requirements for each building, and the plans for parking were analyzed as well for circulation of fire trucks, garbage trucks, and etc. And they found that the parking was going to be provided for both uses. Will have adequate parking as well as ADA parking. Regarding the height variance for the storage building, the highest point will be 42 feet. That will be the stair tower in the self-storage building. Self-storage, as I said, in the G zone is 25 feet. 35 feet, though, is permitted in the G zone. So if this wasn't a self-storage facility and was just a plain warehouse, we wouldn't be seeking a parking variance. You will note from the renderings that were issued, the town made comments regarding elevations, and my client agreed to provide more architectural detail, change the color. So normally a self-storage building is pretty plain walls. This will look less industrial, and our architect will describe that in much more detail. We have Mr. Frank Ralph. He's testified before this board on many occasions regarding self-storage. He designed the facade, and he will describe the design of the building as well as the operation of the proposed self-storage facility. After you hear from Mr. Frank Ralph, you'll note that every effort has been made to meet the comments that have been made by the planning department and the town consultants. You know, we generally don't think of self-storage as a facility as an economic generator. And these facilities were always thought that this place where homeowners put extra furniture, if they were in between houses, this is where they stored their furniture and goods. But actually, most of the users are tradespeople, retail stores, and other entrepreneurs. They want to hold equipment, inventory, display items so they can keep them in a safe, accessible place without paying rents for a larger floor space or that they really need. In addition, this is a win-win situation for both the developer and town. It will increase the tax base for the town without any impact on the town, the county, or the school district. It basically doesn't use any services at all, and it's not sending any kids to school. So, and there's also a plus for the town is that there's no application for a pilot agreement. At this time, I'd like to call Mr. Frank Relf. I also have Mark Patillo of Key Civil Engineering after that to answer any questions that you might have. So, Mr. Relf, can you give your testimony, please?
Okay. Why don't you bring the architect? Let's get him on the screen.
My name is Frank Ruff. I am the architect. My office is located at 35 Pine Lawn Road, Suite 207 West in Melrose.
Okay, I have to swear you in, sir. Could you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please proceed. Thank you.
Our proposed self-storage facility, as Wayne had described, is 3 stories in height. The typical floor heights from floor to floor are 10'6", and then we have a 3-foot high parapet wall that basically brings our height to a 32 foot 5.5 is to the top of the roof deck, and thank you, Matt. And then to the top of our parapet is roughly 36 feet. That's the majority of our building and the bulbs that you would see. And where we exceed the 35 feet is a very small section of wall that is at our loading areas and at our stair towers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very small percentage of the overall height when you look at our elevation. So the majority of the building tops out at the 36 feet, and the areas of the stairwell and a little bit of the parapet is what exceeds that average height. So although we're asking for a height variance at 42 feet, that's only for the stair tower itself that really goes to that height level. But the majority of the building is at 36 feet as our overall height. The building is a mixture of materials where we have what's called an insulated metal panel that is predominantly the light gray and the darker gray. And the brownish tone is all of the masonry. The ground floor is primarily a textured concrete block, which is also being used for our stair towers and elevator shafts on the building. We are adding that green wall because that's basically our front elevation as you're coming into the site and driving down the driveway to get to where the building is on the north end. So you have that visibility coming into the site, and it's an enhancement of the overall look. It would be not a living wall, but a foam wall of planted materials that will be forever, let's say, in bloom or green, as opposed to something that would require quite a bit of maintenance. On the west elevation, thank you. What we've done is to try and create a little bit more of a residential feel by adding the faux windows Would you go down on the screen, please, Matt?
It's the elevation below this.
The rest elevation. Thank you. So there we have, at ground level would be exterior drive-up units that would be hard to see because of the extensive amount of landscaping. The windows that you see in that gray area are to at least see some of residential feel. The door's not with me. What you're seeing is also the middle area would be where we have one of the entrances into the building. And typically that's done via a keypad controlled door at that opening. And all of the access is done through an access control system where people would use a code that would allow them to access their unit or get into the building during normal operating hours. So as Matt, you probably want to pull up C6 of Mark's drawings. And I'll let Mark Bellata do all of the detail and description, but along the west property line of the self-storage development, there's going to be a considerable amount of landscaping, and those trees will eventually grow tall enough to provide some additional landscape screening and buffering along that west elevation. There will also be additional landscaping and screening on the south side of the building as you're coming in, but that's primarily for the beauty of the landscaping, and maybe the tenants in the office building will have the benefit of that landscaping. But certainly, this is been a request of the planning department relative to landscaping, and we have responded accordingly. If you go back to the exterior elevations, I should explain the east elevation. So the east elevation, or the drawing on the lower part of the screen, is what may potentially be seen from 110. However, once the hotel goes in on the vacant portion of land, or that, whether it's a hotel or other development, they're allowed more than 4 stories in height. So you basically will never see the building from 110 and barely see the building from any other roadway because of its location on the site. And we are trying to indicate to people that to get to our facility, they basically have to come around onto Michaels and then by county in order to get to the facility itself, which is why we have entrance and the arrow, because if people are trying to get to the facility for the first time, we're hoping that there'd be some visibility on 110 in order to direct people to come down and around to get in. So if you were to go back to the site drawing, I'd like to point out that there's a considerable amount of existing vegetation on the west property line, which abuts the neighboring residential. Not particularly on this drawing can you see that, but again, I'll let Mark attest to that. There you go. Thank you. So that vegetation is very dense, and roughly at least 2 stories in height. And the only clear area in that vegetation is by the crest gate. Thank you, Matt. So this compilation of photographs and view angles is to give you an idea of the current conditions on the site and the ability to see that from the various views. Obviously, we kind of superimposed our proposed building in the background, just to give you a general idea. So you can barely see the building. This is what the residents see currently, and that's the first street on the northern end. So from street view, you'd probably never see the building, and maybe if you're in a second floor bedroom, you might, with the current landscaping that's along East Commons Road. And our proposed landscaping will further buffer the building from view. You'll have the current landscaping, but we are supplementing it with substantial landscaping close to the building. Then the building itself is a floor plate of 38,275 square feet. The floor plans vary, but the footprint stays the same. We offer various different size units throughout the building, depending on individual needs. The building will be fully fire alarm and meets all of current New York State building codes, the energy code and code, in terms of building code compliance.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add, sir? Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I'm done with my description of the building. Unless you have any specific questions.
Okay. There may be some questions from the board at this time for you. Are there any questions from any of the members of the board regarding the presentation that was just made by the architect? Jerry O'Neill?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Jerry, do you have any questions or comments?
No. I guess
The
I don't have a question. I have a comment. I appreciate the effort that was put into the west side of the building and the property with the additional landscaping and the various elevation elements on the building, including some of those faux windows. It doesn't look like a big warehouse as much as it could have. So, no, if I recall, the elevation of that property is several feet above the elevation of the road on East Commons. So from the start, I think this property is higher than Commons Road, East Commons Road. So I once again, I appreciate the effort to make this more attractive for the residents on East Commons Road.
Sir, do you want to comment on the Carmen's Road? I know you covered that in your presentation.
Mr.
Hello?
Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
This is Wayne Edwards. I'll make a comment regarding that. Like the member observed, a lot of effort was done. Was done in terms of making the Carmen's Road, having the nicest side and making it look more residential. I should also point out the pictures that were done, the views were done very early in this application, and the building that was used in terms of those views was probably around 5 feet higher in terms of the rendering that was used and put on the pictures. So it's even less than what was showed on those pictures because that building was probably around 41 feet high, and we brought it down as a result of consultations with the planning department to bring it down to a lesser height. Every effort, as I indicated, with the landscaping, done to soften the view from Carmen's Road, and it won't be really noticeable at all. It's in the northeast corner. It's as far away as anybody.
Okay, yeah, thank you for bringing that to our attention regarding the change that happened. You worked with the planning staff in the height. Is there anyone else who has a question or a comment?
Chairman?
Yes.
Yes, hi. Because they mentioned the DOT truck to get the CDL license. Tell on the plan, is that building going to affect that DOT truck site?
Yes, it won't be there anymore.
It'll be gone.
It'll be gone. So any noise that you got from tractor trailers or from the testing that was going on is going to disappear.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions? Julianne, did I see your hand up?
Yes, I apologize. I'm having video issues tonight, so I've been able to hear everything, although you're not seeing me at all the time. I don't know what my video is. What exactly are the hours of operation again, please?
Typical hours of operation are 9 to 7, Monday to Friday, Saturday 8 to 6, and Sunday 10 to 5. Those are typical operator hours.
Okay, and will there be any storage of vehicles or campers, any type of automotive vehicles stored at the property?
Right now, there's no plans for any outdoor storage of any vehicles whatsoever.
You're saying right now there's no plan, but there's possible for the future?
No. Right now, there are no plans for any outdoor storage whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Council, you wanted to add to that answer?
Basically, I was going to say there's no plans for it. In addition, one of the things that if you ever gone to one of these newer facilities, we have extensive monitoring alarm systems. We also have cameras on the inside and the outside. So it will monitor it in case somebody who's going onto the premises who rents a space hangs out or does anything bad. So that will also do it. There's no room for outdoor storage of vehicles or campers. Some facilities offer that service. This one doesn't. There's only 20 parking spaces, and we'd have to utilize those parking spaces. So it's not going to happen.
Council, do any of the other board members have any questions? Because I have one. Are there any others?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Richard.
Comment and a question. First of all, CNR number 16 prohibits any overnight storage of vehicles completely. So that's number one. Number two, the question for Mr. Edwards is it anticipated or covenanted that the lots and the operations here are to remain in common ownership, given the fact that you have an interior roadway and I did not notice any cross-access or other easement arrangement?
Well, there is an easement. There is an easement onto by county, but we haven't produced. I think that's a question I'm going to let either Mr. Katz or Mr. Wackler answer. You thought of a question I haven't thought of, so it's a pretty good question.
All
So,
right.
Which
Why
one?
he's, that's why Richard is our attorney. All right, is someone else, did you say, who did you offer, counsel, to answer that question?
I can address that. Todd Katz, how are you?
Yeah, Todd, could you please state your name and address for the record?
Sure. My name is Todd Katz. My office address is 111 Great Neck Road.
And your title?
A partner of Sterling Equities.
Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please answer the question.
So just so that I can state and answer the question correctly, can I repeat the question? Is that all right?
Please. Yeah, please do that.
Sure. So I believe the question is whether or not the office building lot and the self-storage lot will have the same common ownership going forward. Is that correct? Is that the question?
Yes, and specifically as it relates to the interaction of the interior roadways.
Our current intent is to have common ownership, but we would like the flexibility to be able to have separate ownership, given the fact that in the future, we don't want to preclude ourselves from being able to sell one and holding on to the other.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the applicant?
Yeah. I guess that raises the question, if the site that the self-storage unit is being put on, would that have to be subdivided with easements if it was going to be sold separately?
I can answer that question. I think if in the future, if it was demised to a outside party, in order for access and for all sorts of utilities that run through the land, all of that would be taken care of through an easement and agreement with the new owner. So not only would the town be interested, but I think the new owner would want to know that nobody could put a block off access to the property or turn off the sewer connection or water pipes or various other things.
Right. That was my issue with a subdivision. Would it be a ground lease or?
That's an answer you really can't give at this point. It could be ground lease, but maybe it would just be a sale, and then you would do a subdivision through in Suffolk County, basically to carve off the unit, which is a lot easier, I believe, than Nassau County, but it's can be done. But all of the particular agreements have to be put in place in order to turn it over to a third party.
Okay, all right. So that's for the future. Okay.
That's for the future, and
Okay.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, may I say something else?
Sure.
I only briefly touched on the landscaping. Wayne, I don't know if you would want Mark now to continue with the testimony relative to the site plan improvements.
If you want to get that on the record, that's fine. I know we've looked over the site plan pretty carefully, but if you'd like to speak to that, go.
Mark?
Yeah. Mark Pilata, Key Civil Engineering, offices at 664 Blue Point Road, Holtzville, New York.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sir, could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please proceed. Thank you.
Okay. So as previously stated, we're looking to subdivide approximately a 2.8 acre parcel at the northeast corner of the property. This is, within the existing office complex, which is a multi-tenant facility. This back area was entirely asphalted with a few minor landscape islands and really underutilized. So this was the best area for this development. In locating the building in that area, forced us to have to realign some of the parking. We maintained the buffer to the east, which is near East Carmen's Road and near the residence. That is approximately a 52 foot buffer with existing mature vegetation there. That will be maintained. We also maintained the roadway around the building And in sort of answering the question that was answered before, it is the intention to have cross-access easement for vehicles as well as for any utilities that may be necessary. You can see that there, Matt's pointing that out. So you're basically going to come in down that main road on the east side, and you would be able to drive around the entire facility should you desire. So in realigning this, we also added a number of landscape islands to the office parking area that's going to be located on the west side. Yep, there you go. So you can see we increased those islands as well as added a few that weren't there previously. In working with planning staff, they were adamant about having a pretty substantial buffer around the facility, adding something. So that's what we've gone and done. Those larger circles are trees. They are skyline thornless honey locusts, which are a very fast growing. They grow to a mature height of approximately 50 feet, and they grow about 2 feet a year. So the intent is that when those are fully mature, they will add additional screening. I don't know if it's a buffer, but because they lose their leaves during the winter, but they will add to break up the facade of the proposed self-storage. Other than that, it's pretty much staying the same. We're increasing some of the drainage to the facility. Obviously, we'll have to bring utilities to the proposed building. And that's pretty much all we're doing to this site.
Hey, thank you very much. Are there any questions? No? Okay. Matt, are there any members of the public that would like to address the board regarding this application?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we do have a number of people registered to participate tonight. And I'll call the first one in is Lou Iannone. I'm going to promote him to a panelist to address the board.
Is Mr. Iannone with us?
Yes.
All right, sir.
Good evening, Welcome to the board. How are you? How are you doing today?
Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Louis Iannone Jr., 112 East Commons Road, East Farmingdale, New York.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
I had sent a letter into the board explaining some of my concerns about the project, which there were answers to some of those. I also sent in the Bi-County office site some issues that are on the site presently right now. If the board members have seen this letter and the pictures that I sent, yes, no?
I don't see it in my packet. I apologize because we are working remotely. Normally we would have all of these things. Why don't you go over each one of the items that you wanted to bring to our attention?
Okay, no problem. As far as the proposed project goes, the three-story facility will look even taller. As Mr. O'Neill was correct, the street level is approximately 8 feet lower than the level of the lot, and that's directly across from my home. From the second story of my homes, on the homes on the block, you can see into the present 500 Bi-County Boulevard. The foliage that everyone has spoken about, PSE&G has come in and removed a bulk of that due to the fact that that foliage is impinging upon the wires, the high tension wires and the electrical wires across the street. I asked also about the common entrance. Thank you. Was that Mr. Casey? Yes. And I'm wondering if that easement could be part of this project placed now, so we don't have to worry about this later on, as the town, planning board, zoning boards have agreed that there will be no entrance out into the East Common Road at all. I'm wondering if that can be done now.
Okay.
Will the reduction of parking spaces on the property affect the office building? Can anyone answer that, or they're going to have to go for a zoning board for that?
No, why don't we do this? Let's get all your questions and then we will ask the
Okay.
question, like the impact of the parking reduction on the office.
Okay. Okay. I see there's no IDA application for this. Thank you.
All right.
The restrictions that were put on the original East Memorial School lot, which is 500 Black County Boulevard, will they carry over into the proposed subdivision? Will there be restrictions on hours of operation on the property? As Ms. Nolan asked, the office hours were given, but what are the access hours electronically? I don't see any of that. And the way I see it is, it sounds like it's a 24/7 accessibility to anyone who's got electronic access. The security of fencing around the facility will be of what height? And is there an electronic gate, or is this going to have, as I reviewed the plans further with you guys tonight, I see the roads going all the way around the facility, but is there going to be some sort of a gating or security system so you can't get to any of the drive in or drive access proposals that are there? Also, light graffiti, I'm asking that and this has happened in the past, that there be some sort of restrictions placed that we have had buildings, BDG had done a building further on down on East Commons Road where they had used halogen lighting, which is that nice yellow color lighting, and they have since replaced them with the bright light LED. So that's caused a little bit of a lighting graffiti. As you come down Second Talk onto East Commons Road, we're getting hit with bright light. We're just hoping as a neighborhood we don't get that. Then I have questions about the 500 by County site itself. Mr. Halpin, what would you like to go? You want to go through that, or you want to answer what I've asked so far?
All right, well, let's get into the issue that you raised regarding, let's see, there were a couple of them here. The entrance and a possible covenant restricting the entrance to the common entrance, and there'll be no entrance onto Carmen.
That's correct.
Okay. Who would like to answer that? Let me go to the council.
I'll answer that. I think we made it very clear during our presentation that Carmen Avenue facility and the existing building will have no entrance or exit onto Carmen Road.
Okay. And what about the hours? Will there be 24/7 access via, some type of a keypad?
I'm going to let it's going to be keypad. Mr. Ralph gave the office hours. I'll let him go into the operation. He's more familiar.
Okay. Well, we talk about
that. Okay. So Frank, wherever you are.
Well, first of all, the facility has a substantial amount of security. No one can enter or exit the facility without it being done via a personalized access code. And anyone who goes in and out is video recorded. They have a 24/7 DVR. So everything is backed up relative to who comes and goes. When people get into the building, they can only go to whatever floor their unit is on. Even the elevators are programmed to only bring you out on the floor where you have a unit. Everything's recorded, so from a security standpoint, not too much gets missed. So if operationally the office is closed and someone goes after hours, their only way they can get into the building is via that access code. And then there are certain periods of the time when no one's allowed in the facility and nobody can get in. So.
Okay. What about light graffiti? What is the plan for lighting on the site so the light doesn't spill over to the neighbors?
I'll have probably Mark would be better to address that as the civil engineer. So
Yes. I'll take that one, Frank. We are proposing some new lighting around the proposed self-storage facility, as well as some upgrades to the office parking lot on the north side. The tallest pole, it's all within town guidelines. The tallest pole is 20 feet. Most of the others, they probably about around 16, average around 16 or 18 feet in height. And the fixture color is 3000 Kelvin, which is on the warmer side of the light spectrum. So I don't think, I recognize the neighbor's concern with the colder temperatures. This will be on the warmer temperature side.
And that means what? For the record?
That means, for the record, it feels warmer. It feels, as opposed to the cold white of the LED. It's
Okay.
just, it has nothing to do with illuminance. It's just a sort of a, how your light perceives the light, how your eye perceives the light.
Okay. And the residents asked about a gate.
There is a gate, if you could go to the site plan, Matt. There is a gate, so basically you could only pull into the first couple of stalls near the office. And then there's a slide gate at the front by the office next, yeah, right there. So you can see there's the proposed security gate. And then the site has a 6-foot high fence around it, in addition to the landscaping. And then it's one-way flow around. And then when you get to the back, there's another gate. You know, sort of all the roll-up units are secured.
Okay, and the last point had to do with the parking for the existing office building with reduction in parking. Can somebody speak? Can one of the people speak?
I can
touch
on that too, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Currently, there's 926 stalls at the facility. The office will have 686 stalls, and the self-storage will have 20 stalls.
Mr. Chairman, in terms of the parking, though, as I indicated in the presentation, Cameron, town's traffic consultant, did a study and indicated with the 686 spaces, it would be more than adequate to handle the existing office space, and that the 20 spaces would be more than adequate to handle the self-storage. In addition, the plan that Mark was referring to was a photometric plan. Looking at the photometric plan, which is C7, you'll notice that there are a bunch of zeros on the east side, west side of the property, excuse me, on Carmen's Road. They all indicate 0, so there'll be no, the whole system is designed so there'll be no light spillage onto Carmen's Road and along that boundary line.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Iannone, is there any other point you want to make regarding the application?
In addition to what I wrote, some of the things I caught from the presentation, how much additional traffic is going to end up spilling out onto County Boulevard and Route 109, as most of the self-storage facilities house landscapers and operations like that start very early in the morning. That's why I asked what are the hours of operation.
All right, any other questions?
View number 5 that the applicant has sent to you is not a direct look into the lot, but instead is an off, like an off corner. If you look at the pictures that I had sent to you, I took a couple of pictures directly into the lot. The crash gate that's on the, and this is part of the County presentation, letter that I sent to you. The crash gate to the north, on the north side of Commons Road, actually has some sort of an additional greenery installed on top of it, so that the neighbors don't have the headlights and operating lights from one of the tenants that's on that property. It's a PSE&G HVAC type repair, home type repair facility. The gate looks very poor. And again, that's on the County, which I'd like to talk about too.
All right, we're only talking about, okay, let's, I just found your correspondence. It was at the bottom of the,
okay,
we received. So we'll look at this very carefully, including the pictures that you provided. And we'll have, it looks like there's some outdoor dumping that's going on there and a variety of other things that haven't been properly maintained.
Also, Mr. Chairman, the property itself, originally, and this is the sore point that I have, and most of the neighbors are going to hopefully address, is 500 Bi-County Boulevard. On the western side, there is what was supposed to be a courtyard. It's now used for the storage of an outdoor dumpster and also for deliveries.
All right.
So we're getting trucks, the dumpster, the garbage company's coming in there, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. I leave for work at 5, so I see them. And now we've got deliveries going in there. That's not what the intent of that was, okay? And then the dumping on the lot itself. I mean, there's two 40-yard dumpsters with two additional 20-yard dumpsters down there. I had sent you pictures. I just think that, history has a chance to repeat itself. I have tried to contact 500 Bi-County to no avail. So it's not like I'm standing here trying to be, where'd he come from? I tried to contact them, and because the one thing I was trying to get him was for the sprinkler system. I mean, it's doing nothing but gushing water in certain areas. So
they were on their water bill if they had answered your call. Okay, thank you very much. We'll go over this very carefully with the applicant as this application is further reviewed. I know there's some other people from the community that would like to address the board. Matthew?
Mr. Chairman, may I make a motion to continue to have the people of with their open comments talk, but then us to answer all the questions at the end, so that I'm sure there's going to be multiple of the same things. I'd like to try to streamline it.
Let's do that. Thank you, Dan. I should have done that in the first place. I apologize. All right, next.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have Donna Sutherland, who I promoted to a panelist.
Okay. Sutherland?
Just ask that you unmute yourself so that you can address the board.
Hello.
Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Donna Sutherland, 52 Cedar Avenue, Farmingdale, New York.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add? Mr. Iannone provided a lot of good information for us.
Iannone did a fabulous job. He addressed everything. So no, I have nothing else to add.
That's it?
Yep, that's it.
Well, thank you so much for participating.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, Matthew?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Next person I have registered is Richard Urbano.
Mr. Urbano?
And I also have Gladys Urbano. I'm going to promote Gladys, and maybe they can address the board together.
Okay. Hello? Hello, Mr. Urbano.
They're
Gladys
just joining now. Just ask that they unmute themselves.
All right, please unmute yourself. Hello.
Okay.
All right.
Good evening, all.
Yes, could you please state your name and address for the record?
Okay. Ricardo Urbano, 92 East Carmen's Road.
Okay,
And
Mr.
my wife.
Go ahead.
Gladys Urbano, 92 East Carmen's Road. Good evening.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay. I have, not only concern, not only questions, but also, big concerns. And probably one of the biggest concerns that I have is that, as Mr. Iannone mentioned earlier, the view that you have, view number 5, it's a side view, but the front view is right in front of my door. So all what I'm gonna see when I open the door is all these storage units and all these people loading and unloading the trucks in there. And that's gonna be happening not only during the day, but always during the evenings, and it's gonna be happening Saturdays and Sundays. So we are not gonna have any peace in there. 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, we had to call the cops like 3 in the morning because there was a minivan that roll out of that parking lot right into my lawn and stop right in front of the, just 2 feet away from where my daughters were sleeping. If it were a big truck, a moving truck, that could have been a tragedy.
Mm.
And that's a very big concern that I have. Trucks loading and unloading there and coming right to the gate. And I live right in front of the gate. So that's a big concern. Another concern that I have is the safety and of our neighborhood. That's a big concern that I have. Now that a lot of people is going to start being evicted and all this, all that's going to be, a lot of people is going to come to these places, and we're not going to have any peace. I really, I like to fight for the progress of the community, but this is not going to be any progress for us. This is going to affect our properties, and it's going to affect them a lot. I will have some words also.
Mr. Chairman, good
Thank
evening. So unfortunately, I have a little bit or maybe a lot of a history with the property across the street. 500 by county. Since in the last years, especially, I have been calling the police because, as my neighbor mentioned before, the noise for those containers was insane. I couldn't even sleep at night. And we are a middle-class family that need to rest and work and function the next day. I was having headaches. I basically went to the property and I spoke to the gentleman there. They gave me the opportunity to let them know what was going on in my house, in my family, and in the neighborhood. There was vans, there was people down the gate, probably smoking drugs. Who knows what they were doing? There were people later at night at the containers. It was at 10, 11, 1 in the morning. I actually called the 500 by county phone number several times at midnight. And basically I left voicemails letting them know that I hope their families was resting okay, because mine wasn't. And they needed to please do something for me. Also, someone broke into our house, unfortunately, 7 years ago, and they tried to break into some houses around the neighborhood. And basically, these guys probably were looking at us from across the street, trying to see what our routine was. So there is a lot going on with these containers. It's a metal.
A lot of noise.
A lot of noise. I called the police. I went to the town. I spoke to a supervisor from the town a couple of times when they told me that there is a noise code. My big concern is we are middle class families. If you, members of the board, or you, the ones that are proposing, have a proposal like this, what will you do in order to protect your families? This is a residential area. We have been living here for 20 years. And honestly, we just want to have a normal life. I don't think this is a good idea. I'm sorry. I know it will bring taxes for the town, but we are part of the town. And also, we pay taxes. So please, you have to consider there is plenty of spaces where there is no houses around. I appreciate if you reconsider this proposal. I don't agree with that. And I'm going to write a letter explaining this and more things that are going on that I have been going through myself in order to have a normal quality of life.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And thank you both for appearing tonight at the public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Matt, are there any other residents that would like to address the board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have, I believe, Teresina. I believe she's here. I'm going to promote her to a panelist now. Just ask that you unmute yourself so that you can address the board.
Hi, sorry about that. Thank you for that. Yes, I don't have anything addition other than what my neighbor.
Hold on. Since you're here, we do have to ask you for your name and address.
Yes,
So
sure.
that the
Teresina Bayada, 114 East Carmen's Road in Farmingdale.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Yes. I just wanted to add two things, the concern of what's going to be across the street from my home. As Lou mentioned, on our second floor window, when we look over, we see the current structure that's there, the buildings that's there. So if you add yet another level, that's what our view is going to be. It's just the wall of a building. And I also have a concern. You mentioned about, the taxes coming into the town. I mean, but what's the benefit for the homeowners? I mean, what are we as homeowners going to get, with this structure in front of us?
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to?
Nothing in addition to what's already been mentioned. No.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Okay.
Matthew?
I believe Audra I have here. She had posed a question. I'm going to promote her to a panelist.
Mr. Chairman, would I be able to make one comment?
Okay, hold off. We're going to try to get all of the questions, and then we'll have an opportunity to get comments.
Hi, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, please state your name and address for the record.
Sure, my name is Audra Sandoval, and I'm at 94 East Carmen's Road.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Of course.
Okay.
It's really more of a statement than a question. That gate that you keep referring to, that is apparently going to keep me and my family safe. I live literally across the street. I live right next door to Gladys. I don't know if you've seen the gate lately, but it started out fairly okay, but it really needs to be replaced. Is that something that maybe we can put into the plan? It's not effective. I mean, people slip through it, they walk through it. It's not doing the job that it was put there to do, nor are the trees, but I think that's more PSE&G problem. I don't know if there's something else that could be done. I mean, nobody's happy about any of this, but if, I don't know if those are two things that could just
okay.
be discussed.
No, those are good points to make, and we'll carefully look at that and ask those questions as soon as we turn it back to the applicant.
Okay, I did have one more that I had put in I didn't realize the question thing was really working, but when and you might have answered this already, but just for clarity, when since this is going to be apparently a 24-hour facility, when people drive up to the facility, are the lights going to go on and my bedroom is going to be illuminated? Because it's right there, like right there.
Okay.
Not really,
Understood.
Yeah, I don't need that.
I'm sure I can appreciate. All right. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you so much.
Much for joining us.
Thank you.
Matthew?
The only other people I had registered for tonight were Tricia and Anthony Nichols, and I do not see them in our attendee list. So I believe those are all of the members from the public registered to speak tonight.
Okay. And of course, the record will be open for anyone else that would like to make comments. So let's go back to the applicant.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
There are a couple of questions regarding operation, the gate, replacing the gate, and access in and out of on and off Carmen's Road. Who would like to address that?
Mr. Chairman, I'll address part of it, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Katz
for
a couple of other things. Regarding access from Carmen's Road, as we've stated a number of times, there will be no access from this facility to Carmen's Road, and the only access will be through the emergency gates. In addition, even though—
I'm sorry, was that the only access will be through what?
Through the emergency gate, meaning that there's no access unless it's a crash gate. If emergency vehicles have to come through that opening, that's the only way it will happen. We're keeping the bike count.
will the existing gate be replaced with something that is new?
I'm going to leave. I want to leave that to Mr. Katz because it's his money, and I'll let Mr. Katz. But I just want to address something else. There are a couple other comments. In terms of the view was of the building through the screening. In terms of the people that lived in 114 and 112, they live behind the existing building, so they won't have any view. As also in terms of lighting, I referred to the photometric plan. While there'll be security lighting at night during the operation, the lighting that occurs inside the building, since there are no windows, will not be spilling out onto any properties. In terms of additional traffic, one of the ways I learned about a storage facility is I used one when I was making the changeover from a single-family house to an apartment, and I had to put stuff away. So I went to the storage facility on Jericho Turnpike in New Hyde Park and learned a lot. And one of the things I did learn is that there's nobody ever goes there. I mean, you see people who go in and out, but in terms of compared to a warehouse or office building, it's minuscule. That's why when I said it's a no impact build, it's no impact for everybody, for the homeowners and for the existing office building. It generates very little traffic. People who utilize it go in and out. There's a loading dock on the south side of the building, not on the west side of the building. That will be utilized. The security system, as Mr. Rel indicated, the security system is state of the art. We do have cameras, which will also help in terms of people hanging out there. They're viewed and monitored. Unfortunately, there are people who don't follow the rules, and if they were hanging out in the parking lot, that's one of the things that we try to avoid, but it happens. I don't think you can look at this building, at the existing facility, and say any crime that resulted on Carmen's Avenue as a result of this building existing. Carmen's Avenue is a well-traveled building, north and south, and it's a main, it's a main road, and there are people who take the opportunity to do things that are illegal, and it's unfortunate. Regarding the operation and the replacement of the gate, I'll have Mr. Katz answer that question. He's been really wants to answer, so I'll let Todd, you can answer.
Okay, Mr. Katz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Wayne. Two things I'd like to address that came up during this meeting, and then I'm going to allow Sandy Cohen to address the gate issue. So firstly, I would like to say is our intention is clearly not to provide and create a facility that is a nuisance to the residential neighbors. It's in our intention as well not to have people, as Wayne had indicated, hanging around the facility. It will not be a 24-hour facility. There will be office hours, which we stated is our proposed office hours, as well as maybe likely up to 10 p.m. people will be able to remotely access the facility through their keypads. But it's not our intention, again, to create a facility to allow people to congregate. So that's the first thing that just wanted to read into the record. The second is currently, I believe there is a hotel in the process of being developed in between our lot at 500 by County and Route 110. To the best of my knowledge, I believe it's going to be a 5-story facility with windows encompassing the entire building. So our facility is currently proposed to be a lower height than that facility. So I believe that it wouldn't be our new building that would really be imposing on the residential neighbors. Additionally, we've taken comments from the town and I believe some of the residential neighbors into account by prettying up the western exposure of our property by putting the faux windows, but also not having actual windows, which would allow light that was in the hallways to project onto the neighboring properties. Mark Pallotta, our civil engineer, also discussed the level of the heights of the actual surrounding light fixtures that would be proposed. and required by the town, and also discuss the light, I believe the Kelvin scale description, which talks about the brightness of the light, which I believe one of the residents, Lou, had indicated. So again, we don't intend this to be a 24-hour facility, and we don't believe that, we believe that we had the intentions of the residents in mind when we developed the western exposure to our building, and hopefully we won't be the highest elevation, and hopefully we won't even be truly visible to the neighbors on the west, on East Scarmans Road.
Thank you. Let's talk, who wants to address the gate issue? Who did you suggest, Mr. Katz?
Sandy Cohen.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Sandy Cohen. My office address is 500 by County Boulevard. Sworn in?
Yeah. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do. So I got quite an education tonight from our neighbors along East Carmans. I have spoken with one individual on this call a number of times since 2005. I hope that we address their concerns over the years. I noticed another member of the community said they had trouble getting in touch with our office. Is it okay if I give out my phone number right now on this call? It's 516-391-5979.
You want to repeat that one more time in case?
Of course, it's 516-391-5979.
Okay.
And my office is in the building. I'm there 5 days a week at least. And I'm happy to address any of the concerns regarding the gate along East Carmans and the concerns about people being able to go back and forth between the gate, which I'm not aware, other than the occasional skateboarders or wiffle ball players that hop the fence. I'm certainly not aware of any ongoing issues. But I look forward to speaking with the community and seeing how we can help.
Okay. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions from the board? No. Okay. Matthew, we're going to keep this record open until?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Recently
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Julianne?
I had raised my hand. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Matt, can you tell me if this letter from Mr. Iannone and the pictures were sent to the applicants? Have they reviewed this?
I don't believe so. They were just submitted for the record. They're on our agenda, but we'll get them to the applicant as well.
Okay, I think that there are a lot of concerns in here in the pictures. I mean, the applicant talks about making the property pretty and appealing to the neighborhood, but the example of these pictures is showing that the property currently at Pike County is not being properly maintained. So I do feel that this is something that needs to be addressed with the applicants in connection with this current application.
I agree with that. And Matt, you'll follow up with the applicant?
Yep, we'll make sure that they have access to the communication as well.
And all of the pictures. Please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, Matt. Julia, is there anything else, or do we want to, adjourn this meeting?
Thank you.
Adjourn this meeting. Go ahead, Matt.
A request for revisions was sent to the applicant on February 24th, 2022. Planning staff recommends extending the record to March 14th.
March 14th. Okay, so I need a motion to extend.
Okay, so I need a motion.
Motion by Jerry O'Neill.
Motion.
By Jerry O'Neill.
Second by Ed Wynn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is extended to the 14th of March. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda to our next one.
Matt, you ready?
I am.
You're good? Item B, public hearing, site plan review, job number 21-18A, 480-1 LLC proposes interior alterations to an existing 10,622 square foot, one-story masonry retail warehouse building in order to increase office and retail space and maintain warehouse space for an electrical supply store.
Okay. Who is here on behalf of the applicant?
There are a number of people registered tonight, Mr. Chairman. I'm just promoting them to panelists. I believe Brian Kuffner is the architect who will be presenting the application. But just give me a moment as I promote all of them. I believe we have everyone. Brian, are you presenting the application? You guys just have to unmute yourself so you can address the board.
James is going to be presenting it.
Okay, who's going to be presenting this?
I will, Mr. Chairman. James Manicone.
Okay, James, please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, James Manicone, JM2 Architecture, 2410 North Ocean Avenue, Farmingville, New York, 11738.
Okay, could you raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Good evening. James Manicone for the applicant, Janak Shah. The application is for an interior alteration to the existing 11,000 square foot building located on 6th Street and Little East Neck Road. The building has years ago was a manufacturing facility, and after a few tenants had gone in previously, the building had been vacant, and our client is looking to renovate the building. For a multi-tenant, he would operate the west side of the building, and then the front portion of the building would be rented out at a later date for retail space. So you could clearly see that's the existing building right there. Over the years, it looked like while it was a manufacturing facility, I believe it was an ice storage facility. There was a few other uses in there, inconsistent with the zoning, and the building was sold. Mr. Janik bought it and now proposes to renovate the building to not only do an interior alteration, but certainly improve the facade, improve the landscaping, the lighting, make some exterior enhancements, certainly that will be consistent with the neighboring uses and kind of the downtown feel that the town is going for along Little East Neck Road.
Could I just jump in there for a moment? I apologize. I should have asked you regarding the memo from the planning department dated February 23rd from the commissioner. Have you had an opportunity to review this with the applicant, and do they have any questions or comments regarding the conditions, the covenants, restrictions?
No, Your Honor. No, sir.
No, they have no.
Yes, we have, and no, they do not.
Okay, then. So you have reviewed it, and they have no objections.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed.
So as you can see, the building has the site has spatial constraints for parking and site circulation, but certainly working with planning staff and Rachel, Brian in my office have come up with the most feasible and efficient use of the parking for the site, certainly. And again, trying to take the original the site configuration with the current asphalt and sidewalk and so on, and creating a site that, like I said, is more consistent with neighboring parcels that are going to be retail in use. Our client's business is like an electrical showroom, office, and storage. He does have a single box truck, which he will park inside the building. So that will never be kept outside. And then, as you can see, we are making site plan landscaping improvements, facade improvements, lighting, as well as trying to create, like I said, as much as a feasible parking as we can. In the elevations, the front facade will be redone with a stucco. We will redo the windows in the front, as you can see. We will use the gooseneck fixtures to create just a real consistent appearance with the remaining neighbors. And then the back, the side of the building and the rear, we will look to paint the concrete block white. So again, it's going to give the building a much needed facelift while providing, a viable owner for the building with a tenant going forward in the future. Certainly the building is going to be, consistent with all town, with the exception of the parking. Lighting is going to be dark sky compliant. So there'll be no light shed on any neighboring properties, as well as, again, keeping the look consistent with other neighboring uses for, retail and office space as well. To the extent we were able to, street trees, landscaping, new asphalt are provided, and new refuse enclosure. Certainly our client is very concerned about the appearance of his building. This was a capital investment for him, so certainly he wants to do right by the community as well as his own business. So he plans to make the necessary improvements to increase the value of the business and thus increase the value of the homes in the neighboring community. I mean, as you can see in this image, a lot of the landscaping is overgrown. A lot of the branches and the trees have actually created a little bit of damage to the building, which he will repair. Certainly at the street line, the sidewalk is, it looks really nice. He looks to just improve upon that. And certainly with the facade enhancements we are looking to do, really create something that is got a very nice community feel. And, has a retail space in the front, similar to that of which is up and down Little East Neck Road. And, we feel it'll be a really good use. If the board has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions from any of the members of the board?
I'm just curious, is that first curb cut going to remain the curb cut that's close to the corner? Not the one in the back, but
yeah,
the one right up by the stop sign?
Yeah, those curb cuts that are currently there are going to remain because, again, we wanted to provide as much landscaping as we can, which you see on the 6th Street side of the building right there. So, that gives us having the curb cut on the far left side to get the parking and get the truck into the building. So that does not remain visible on site. And then have the other 2 curb cuts. Literally, they go to 3 separate parking areas. And the reason we did that is just, the circulation around the building is a little tight. So especially at the corner. So having the 3 curb cuts, which are currently there, to their own little independent parking areas creates the least amount of conflict of vehicular movement around the site. And we felt, in conjunction with planning staff, that was the proper way to go. And I think it's certainly from the corner is going to present a really pretty elevation, right there where the corner of the property has landscaping and, it is minimal parking. And like I said, to the best of our ability, we were able to work out the most amount of parking spaces to meet the town requirements.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yes. You mentioned 2 different uses for the building, a tenant in the back and a tenant in the front. Can you talk about what that might be?
Yeah, well, the applicant, DB Electric, is going to take the back of the building. Okay, he is going to have the office space. He is going to have like a showroom in the front. Okay, so you'll come in kind of off the street. And then he will have a showroom, office space, and then storage. And then any material that is brought in via his box truck will be, the box truck will be parked inside the warehouse on the bottom portion of the drawing. Oh, excuse me, right there in the corner, forgive me. And then the other tenant will be in the corner, and that'll be a straight up retail tenant that he will look to have. And then both spaces will share a common toilet in the common toilet core in the center, with all proper egress, life safety, such met for code compliance.
Okay, so the front of the building on Little East Neck is going to have two storefronts, one for the.
Yeah, it's going to have, correct. It'll have a showroom on the lower section there, and then it'll have a separate tenant right there in the upper corner. So the applicant will pretty much comprise the majority of the building, with one tenant being in the upper right-hand corner. Both the owner and the tenant will share that toilet, that common toilet core. And again, for the most part, each will have his own or her own separate.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So they'll have their own separate entry, and really, for the most part, there'll be separate parking as well. So hopefully we've done what we could to mitigate a tight circulation pattern around the building, to provide an enhanced elevation that will serve the community for years to come, with, mitigating what could have been possibly some traffic issues around the building. So, so we feel that the parking as we designed it works, with getting additional landscaping, which the site needed. And the owner is looking to do some enhanced landscaping and get some of the overgrown trees off the building. So the site should have a really nice appearance from coming up and down Little East Neck Road. And then for the community, certainly with the building getting the upgrades that it needs, it is consistent with the use that is current in the zoning in the town. It certainly looks to enhance the property values all around. So
that on the west side of the property, those are new plantings alongside the residence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct.
Okay, are there any other questions? Matthew, are there any residents that would like to address the board regarding this application?
Matt, you're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, guys. There was one member of the public registered to participate tonight, but I do not see them in our waiting room. So I'll just remind anyone that, they'll have an opportunity to present comments via writing to the planning board.
Okay.
Certainly, if any member of the community has questions, they could call our office directly. We would be happy to answer any questions that they have.
All right. Do you want to provide your phone number?
Yeah, sure. Our office number is 631-320-3305.
Please
They
repeat
could ask
that.
for they could either ask for me, James Manicone, or our project manager, Brian Kiefner.
Okay, 631.
320-3305.
3305. All right, thank you very much. Matt, what do you recommend?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, a request for revisions was sent on February 16th, 2022. Planning staff recommends extending the record to March 28th, 2022.
Okay, so we need a motion to extend the record. I have a motion by Michael to extend
Motion.
the record. Second by
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Same to you.
All right, Denise, let's go back to the agenda, to the work session.
Okay, so work session, site plan review, bar restaurant, planning board job number 21-39 AF, Elias Properties, Babylon LLC. We have to close the record on this.
Okay, so we need a motion to close the record. Motion by Julianne.
Motion to close the record.
Second by Frank.
Second.
All in favor? The record is
Aye.
closed.
Item D, resolution for 21-39 AF Elias Properties, Babylon LLC.
Okay. Are there any questions any of the board members have? No. Okay, let's see. Frank, motion by Frank to approve the resolution.
Motion to approve.
Second by Julianne. All in favor?
Second.
Approved.
Aye.
Aye.
Item E, architectural review, application number 134636, Hive Mars Telemark, expansion of an existing house.
Okay, Matthew?
Yes, this is a second-story addition located at 3 Gordon Avenue in West Babylon. The ZBA approved all of the variances, and it is in good order for the board's consideration.
Are there any questions? No. Okay, a motion by Dan to approve.
Motion.
Second by Ed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I approve.
Application number 138641, and Corba, expansion of an existing house.
Matt?
This home is located at 231 16th Street, West Babylon. It's a rear addition, and it is in good order.
Okay. Let's see, motion to approve, motion by Jerry,
Motion.
second by Julianne. All in favor? Approved.
Aye.
Application number 138854, Cost Box LLC, construction of a new house.
This is a new home, 2-story traditional. It's located at 94 Willow Street in Wheatley Heights. It is in good order for the board's consideration.
Okay, are there any questions? No, okay, hearing none. Let's see, motion by Frank to approve,
Motion to approve.
second by Dan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Communications, letter dated February 1st from Harold Gephardt to the Town of Babylon Planning Board regarding job number 17-33AE, Bobby Lau requesting to extension of time. And
Okay.
memo dated February 16th from Commissioner Shelfo to Patrick Halpin regarding Planning Board job number 17-33AE, Bobby Lau stating no objection to granting 2 extensions of time.
Okay, read and filed.
We have to act on number 1.
Oh, okay. Act on number 1. All right, so we need what, Richard, a motion to extend the record? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, to extend the,
The record, yeah. Yes.
to provide the extension.
Extend the record for 2
Okay.
extension time.
Let's see. Okay, motion by Frank to extend,
Motion to extend.
second by Michael.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 3, letter dated February 17th from Nicole Blanda to the Planning Board regarding job number 17-24AC, 532 Albany Avenue, LLC, requesting 2 extensions of time. A memo dated February 16th from Commissioner Shelfo to Patrick Halpin regarding Planning Board job number 17-24AC, 532 Albany Avenue, stating no objection to granting 2 extensions of time.
Okay, we need a motion to extend to approve 2 extensions of time. Let's see, motion by Michael,
Motion.
second by Ed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Number 5, letter dated February 17th from Rafael Taveras to the Town of Babylon Planning Board regarding job number 20-32B. Rafael Taveras requesting an extension of time. And number 6, memo dated February 18th from Commissioner Shelfo to Patrick Halpin regarding job number 20-32B. Rafael Taveras stating no objection to granting an extension of time.
Okay, and let's see, motion by Julianne to grant the extension of time.
Motion to grant the extension.
Okay, second by Jerry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Item 7, email dated February 23rd from Lou Iannone Jr. to the Town of Babylon Planning Board regarding Planning Board job number 20-25AB, 500 by county, expressing concerns with the applicant's proposal.
Read and filed.
Okay, we're going to move to the minutes of January 31st, 2022.
Yes, they were corrected and completed about 2 weeks ago, and they're fine. And that's it.
Okay, motion by Michael to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Second by Dan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes of February 7th, 2022.
Yes, those were completed yesterday, and they were also approved. Motion to approve.
Motion by Michael to approve. Second by Ed.
Second.
In favor? The minutes.
Aye.
Okay, we're going to move to page 5, public hearing date July 13th, job number 20-34 AGE, Kriship LLC.
This is pending town board approval for the change of zone, as well as special permission for alteration to an existing hotel motel. That town board hearing scheduled for tomorrow. Planning staff recommends extending the record to March 14th.
Okay. We need a motion to record to the 14th of March. Motion by Julianne. Okay, second by Jerry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We already closed the record on Elias.
Yeah.
So we will move to,
Got one more before that on Elite.
oh, I'm
Prospect.
sorry, Elite. Planning board job number 19-22A, Elite Prospect Training, Inc.
Revisions were just submitted last week and are currently under review by a multitude of departments. Planning staff recommends extending the record to March 14th.
Okay, motion to extend the record to March 14th by Edwin.
Motion to move.
Second by Michael.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing date November 8th, job number 21-05AE, 304 Comac Road, LLC.
This is pending a decision from the town board. I believe they had a public hearing on the rezone at the last town board hearing. Planning staff recommends extending the record to March 14th, 2022.
Let's see, motion by Dan to extend the record.
Motion.
Second by Michael. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Public hearing date December 13th, job number 21-13C, 995 and 1015 Great Neck Road, LLC.
Same status on this matter. Still pending submission of revisions. Planning staff recommends extending the record to March 14th, 2022.
A motion by Dan to extend the record.
Motioned.
Second by Frank.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Public hearing date January 10th, job number 21-35AI, McDonald's Corporation.
There's another matter pending town board approval for the lifting of covenants and restrictions. I believe their public hearing is scheduled for March 16th. Planning staff recommends extending the record March 28th, 2022.
Okay, motion to extend the record. Motion by Frank. Second by Julianne. All in favor? Approved.
Aye.
Public hearing date January 24th, planning board job number 21-36AF, 1831 Deerpark Avenue, LLC.
Request for revisions was sent out on this matter on February 25th. Planning staff recommends extending the record to March 28th.
Okay, motion to extend the record by Julianne.
Motion to extend.
Okay, second by Jerry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Planning board job number 18-30 ABH, VL 1620 New Highway, LLC.
This matter is on our addendum, or rather the SECRA determination for this matter is on the addendum, and I'll defer to Mr. Casey and Mr. Grow regarding that. But in the interim, planning staff recommends extending the record to March 7th, 2022.
Motion by Edwin to extend the record.
Motion.
A second by Michael.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Public hearing date, January 31st, Planning Board, job number 21-41A, SNL Copeg LLC.
This matter is also pending a submission of revisions from the applicant. Planning staff recommends extending the record to March 28th.
Okay, motion by Michael to extend the record.
Motion.
Second by Dan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
I'm going to move to the addendum work session neg deck for Planning Board job number 18-30 ABH VL 10-1620 New Highway LLC.
Matt?
This was a coordinated review for the secret determination, but this is the modified site plan application for National Grid was doing a winter supply facility to a previously approved site for 3 warehouses. We did a coordinated review, and I'll defer to Mr. Grove for a better explanation regarding the secret.
Okay, thanks, Matt. I'll just give you a quick rundown on it. Due to the nature of the facility, compressed natural gas, winter facility. Oh, wow. I don't know what's going on with that.
We're getting feedback.
Just getting some feedback.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Julianne or not. I just clicked the unmute, but just keep in mind to unmute yourself when you have to come back on.
Yeah, okay. So we did a coordinated review for the application, even though we had done the secret determination previously because of the nature of the new operation and the location adjacent to the Republic Airport runway. We wanted to make sure that we, checked everything out, all aspects, including safety, human safety. We had a couple meetings with the fire marshals. They did not have any great concerns because this is an underground facility. It's not going to be a tank farm or anything like that. We did receive comments from Republic Airport sort of in the 11th hour. The 30-day lead agency ended on a Friday, and we got comments on the 24th from Republic Airport requesting that we move the facility. We asked the applicant to move the facility to the west. We did get in touch with the applicant's representative, and it's not possible to move the facility because it needs to be as close as possible to the main gas line there. Also, there's some security concerns. So there's nothing that we could do, to mitigate the impacts any further. So we are recommending the negative declaration for the application. This will also complete SECRA for the town board because they were included as an involved agency as well as the zoning board. So once the planning board does their secret determination, SECRA is complete for the other boards. So I just wanted to kind of, give you a little bit of a rundown on it. Any questions?
Let me unmute myself. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Are there any questions that the board has? I'm looking at the comments from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation regarding vegetation and being within 60 feet of a wetland. Am I looking at the right one or no?
No, I think, Pat, you have the wrong application.
I do
We have no wetlands up there.
I do have the wrong application. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was wondering where that came from. Okay, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, we got some comments from Suffolk County Planning Commission, but they were just very straightforward, just indicating they have the right to comment further at a later date. There was nothing, that was substantive that we needed to address. But we did, address the airport's comments when we received those.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Are there any questions by any of the board members? No? Okay, what action have to take? Richard, we need to go to item B.
We are going to consider the neg deck that is presented by environmental. While the site plan remains before us. So this is an approval or review of the determination by Mr. Grove's department that the proposal does not create a significant environmental condition.
All right, thank you very much. Denise, do you want to go back to the agenda and read the?
Sure. Resolution neg deck, planning board job number 18-30 ABH BL 10-1620 New Highway LLC.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the negative deck. Motion by Julianne.
He's muted.
Motion to approve. Motion to approve.
Second by Jerry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Architecture review, application number 138531, Joseph Marino, extension and raising of an existing house.
This home is located at 47 Pershing Avenue, Babylon. It's for a raise as well as a third story addition. The ZBA approved the variances for this application and is in good order for the board's consideration.
Okay, motion to approve. Motion by Ed.
Motion.
Second by Michael.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item D, communication, letter from John Louth, Airport Manager, Republic Airport, to the Town of Babylon Environmental Control regarding planning board job number 18-30 AN BL 10-1620 New Highway LLC, modified, stating their review of the applicant's proposal.
Okay, read and filed. All right, is there anything else? No?
Nothing further from planning.
Okay, Denise?
That's it. I need everyone to mail in their ROEs this month as soon as you can,
Mailing to,
or email them to me, it's fine.
Okay, email.
Lyndon Hurst?
Yeah, or you can scan them in and email them to me.
All right, we need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Julianne. To
8:55 p.m.
Okay, what was
Motion to
that?
adjourn at 8:55 p.m.
8:55 p.m.